You know, my coworkers would often tease me because I wasn't familiar with this film or that film, but I never got upset with it because it's a conversation about media, so it's no reason to take it personal. That's what weirdos do. Instead, what I would do is I'd explain my childhood to each and every individual who would tease me. I missed out on a lot of movies as a kid because my family wasn't well off. Socioeconomic classes are a real thing. I believe this is easy for people to understand this on a larger scale, such as being poor means no luxury cars or vacations, but where I think a lot of people aren't able to empathize is how it can affect even the smallest things, like a lack of food, or wearing hand-me-downs from your siblings, or even not attending the latest film releases. Hell, the only reason I gained as much as I did as a kid was because I was the kid going door to door asking if you needed your grass cut, leaves raked, or snow shoveled for 20 bucks. Also, gaming was introduced to me while I was still in diapers by my parents, so it's damn near in my blood. So not only could we not afford to go see every movie, but it just wasn't a big cultural thing inside of my family's house, and that goes for television too. I grew up playing sports and video games. If it wasn't on bootleg DVD for the Lolo with someone getting up and walking past the movie screen every 5 minutes, I most likely hadn't seen it. So once I'd explain my situation, most people would apologize and then they would try to put me on to stuff. It's a bit difficult trying to catch up on all the classics when you're trying to balance all the responsibilities of being an adult, but I do my best to watch what I can. So feel free to recommend me some classic films I should check out in the comment section below. Shoot, I mean, if y'all can keep up with the Kardashians' terrible content, I figured I can try to keep up with these movies.
Don't be rude.
But enough of the jokes. Let's talk about today's topic, Beast. Beast is surprisingly PETA's first piece of high-budget propaganda starring Stringer Bell. I meant Brixton Lore. All right, bootleg Deadshot. Talk about sassy. Okay, my bad. Most of you would know him as Idris Elba, and he's here to help PETA convey the message that shooting animals is bad. See, this movie would preview before several of the last films that I've seen in theater, but honestly, I dismissed it because I assumed it would just be a dumpster fire. That is, until I recently was on Rotten Tomatoes looking for something to watch, and currently, Beast is sitting at a decent 68% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, although the viewer rating is in the high 70s. I said to myself, a 6 out of 10? Huh, okay. A 6 out of 10, that's like Destiny 1 before the Taken King expansion, or that's like a plate of chicken from Zaxby's, or even Michelle from Destiny's Child.
Well, let's be nice. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good Lord.
Yes, you'd be correct, Stephen A. Smith. I was so desperate to see this film, I got on both knees and I closed my ass and I asked the Lord to deliver me an option to stream Beast that would be as easy as 1, 2, 3, and boom, there it was on my laptop monitor for my enjoyment. Truly a blessing. According to IMDb, Beast is classified as an adventure horror movie, and boy is that wrong. I mean, that was the intention, but without a doubt, Beast is one of the funniest movies of the year, and I mean that as a compliment. I love campy B-movie stuff that takes itself far too seriously. Unintentional comedy is underrated in my book. It's some of the best. A prime example being the opening scene. This movie kicks off with Idris Elba flying into Africa with his 2 daughters, and who's the tour guide he's greeted by when the plane lands? A white man named Martin who looks like a bootleg version of Joel from The Last of Us. I mean, granted, this film does take place in South Africa. I know there's some white folks there, but it doesn't make this moment any less hilarious to me. I mean, I could be reaching harder than Dowsum, but Paramount really had a chance to drop some yoga fire here, but instead it's just a little tone deaf, just a little bit. The best way I can describe the plot of this film without spoiling too much is think of the original Jurassic Park, but with lions. There's no cloning going on in Beast, but basically poachers piss off this lion, and now our protagonist and his friends get caught in the middle of an angry lion hunting poachers, and the thing is, this feral lion doesn't know the difference between the poaching and the non-poaching humans, so it's dishing out hands to everybody. Story doesn't go much deeper than that. Honestly, the plot here is simplistic, and it solely serves the purpose of getting things cracking, which I'm not mad at. Don't expect any type of real character development or interesting banter here. This film is only an hour and a half long, so the pacing is really quick. Once the family lands in Africa, something significant happens, and within 20 minutes, stuff just continues to escalate until the ending. The only real banter we get is the internal family issues that come out in front of our friend Martin, not the educational Martin Luther King movie from the 90s, but our white buddy Martin that greets us off of the plane. I don't know. Maybe because I'm a writer myself, certain things are just obvious to me. Like the family drama was obviously put in place, so when the lion attacks, it forces them to overcome their issues and work together, all while reinforcing the negative stereotype of the black dysfunctional family.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
So since the last part was a bit of a reach, allow me to reach for some compliments. The lions aren't real. I know, right? Surprise. Instead, they're CG, and honestly, it doesn't look bad. It only looks weird in certain moments when people are fighting them. You could tell they were doing their best to act like something was really attacking them. Meanwhile, it was most likely just a stick there as a placeholder until the lion was animated in post-production. Sound design was on point too. You really felt the impact of the lion's attacks. When he pounced onto things, this powerful thump would play that reinforced that this wasn't the cowardly lion from The Wizard of Oz. But I'm strictly talking about the sound effects when I mention the sound design. The soundtrack, not bad, but the problem is the movie is so goofy, it's hard to take it seriously. Whenever a lion would attack, you'd have this tense music playing, all while the actors were doing their best to pretend like they're not fighting an imaginary lion. The best way to describe the fight scenes is to imagine that Russian kid in the club dancing. There was a lot of vibes and flailing of the arms. These were supposed to be serious moments, but honestly, it just made me laugh. Now allow me to address the elephant in the room. One of the biggest critiques for this movie is Idris's kids. A lot of people found them to be annoying in the movie. They spend the majority of the movie making things worse. Their poor decisions leads to our friends being in a constant state of flight or fight. And to those people, I say, what did you expect? They're children, and nobody had to scream, "Ho!" to see the thunder that cat was bringing. That lioness wanted all the smoke, and Idris gave it to him. I'm just trying to understand, what child is mentally or physically equipped to fight a lion? Most of y'all can't even fight off the halitosis on your breath in the morning with your dollar store toothpaste head ass. Of course, their immaturity would cause problems. Y'all call it annoying, I call it realistic. Would I want to be under attack by a lion with them girls with me? No, I'm just saying I understand it. Doesn't matter anyway, because the family's ultimately saved by plot armor. So instead, I prefer to focus on what truly matters. What truly matters is, this movie breaks the horror movie trope of the black characters dying first.
Every tear from the
Nah, go ahead, do you think?
ready for the revolution. What you say now?
Yes, y'all heard that correctly. I am proud to announce that no black people were harmed in the making of Beast. That is a win as far as I'm concerned. So, with that being said, I just wish this film did a better job of delivering on the thriller aspect of the movie. Honestly, the acting wasn't bad, the cinematography was on point, and the CG was cool. The crazy lion just wasn't crazy enough, so I felt no fear. I sat there impatiently watching this movie, waiting for the lion to
go crazy, go stupid, go crazy. Go stupid. Go crazy. Yeah.
I think this was especially hard to see after the release of Black Phone. If you haven't seen Black Phone, I highly recommend it. I'm not into horror like that, but it was one of my favorite films of this year. That was a great psychological thriller that this film couldn't hold a candle to. But don't get it twisted. I'd still recommend watching Beast, but put it at the bottom of your watch queue. This is something you don't need to see ASAP. This is something you watch when it's nothing else to watch. I think what would have made this movie must-see TV is, imagine a world where that crazy lion is replaced by a real alpha male lion that religiously listens to all the alpha male podcasts on YouTube. Yeah, I'm talking about Liar Zero. Beast could have been a much shorter movie. I would have remixed it like this. Open it with them flying into South Africa via a plane just like the original movie, but right before the family lands, you hear BitCloud shout,
Strike Laser Claw!
And that's when the plane splits in half. It explodes, and the screen fades to black, and the Naruto ending 15 begins to play. I don't know Japanese, but y'all know the song. You know what I'm talking about. And that's when you're met with a black screen and some text that says, the movie's over, and you better not ask for a refund. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a good movie to me. But hey, I'm just saying.